Good morning again. I'm pleased to announce today the availability of applications for city residents to apply to become members of the Police Discipline Trial Board. By law, the only way that we can effectively remove bad actors from the police department is by finding of a misconduct by a trial board. To repair the relationship of our police department with our community, it is critical that civilians, ordinary citizens, residents, be able to sit in judgment of the police officers and that they be part of the trial board. It is important that police officers and city residents know that the law applies to police just like everybody else. It is important that everybody knows that the general orders of the police commissioner and related rules of conduct will be enforced. It is important that police officers know the process is fair. This is all critical to enduring police reform. When the rules are often enforced and enforced fairly, good officers take hope and bad actors either shape up or ship out. The mandates of the federal consent decree will not tolerate nothing less. City resident membership on trial boards has been a long time coming and is something I fought to accomplish. We had to change the law in Annapolis to allow this. We had to bargain for this in the latest union contract with the police. It took a couple of years, but we did it. Now city residents will have a voice in the discipline of our officers. In a moment, I would like Donnell Ingram to say a few words about what it means to have city residents on trial boards. As you know, Donnell is the director of the Mayor's Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement, where he directs the staff of the Civilian Review Board. First, Solicitor Andre Davis will explain how to apply to be on the trial board. Judge Davis.
Mayor, thank you so very much, and thank you for your support in this effort. This is a really tremendous day. As many of you know full well, civilians on police hearing boards has been something that the city has been trying to achieve for several years, as the mayor mentioned. It took a legislative change in Annapolis over several years to bring us to this point. First, we wanted to have trial boards be public. And that was a big fight, but we won that fight so that now trial boards, hearing boards of police officers charged with misconduct are public. And we are working to make sure that the public learns about the scheduling and the location of those hearings. Second, the legislature allowed civilians on trial boards if those opportunities were agreed to in collective bargaining agreements. So one of the big lifts we had last year in negotiating with the local fraternal order police, Lodge number 3 here in Baltimore, was getting their agreement in the collective bargaining agreement, the memorandum of understanding, to the presence of trial board members from the civilian cohort. And we were successful. And joining us today are a couple of the people who were so very instrumental in the negotiating process that brought all the good faith that the city could muster, which enabled us to persuade the leadership and negotiating team on behalf of the FOP that we were acting in good faith. And I just want to introduce Dan Beck, who is the chief of police legal affairs within the law department. Dan's done a tremendous job and a particularly outstanding job during the negotiation process last summer and fall and into the winter almost. As you all know, we got that agreement completed at the last minute before we were headed into binding arbitration. Second is Ms. Deborah Moore Carter, who all of you know, a longtime labor commissioner for Baltimore City, who spearheaded the negotiations, supported us in every way, and provided the guidance and leadership that only she could provide based on her long-term experience here at the city. So I'm happy to announce that the application, and this is what this is about, the application for residents of Baltimore City to apply to become members of the trial boards has been completed. We're going to make available, you all have copies, great. These applications will be posted online through the law department's website, the police department website, the website of the mayor's office of civil rights and wage enforcement. Folks will be able to complete them online and submit them online or print them out and mail them in. And we, together with the FOP, will begin immediately the vetting process. There are a number, as you can imagine, a number of qualifications, Mr. Mayor. People can't have a felony conviction. And what we're looking for, and what we know we have in Baltimore City, are many, many people who will be fair to police officers, fair in their judgments, impartial in evaluating the facts and circumstances of cases, and at the same time, we don't want shrinking violence. We want people who will step up and be a full participating voting member of the trial boards. So going forward after July 1st, the trial boards that used to be 3 police officers, right, will now be 5 members, 3 sworn law enforcement officers, and 2 civilian members, all with equal voting power. And this is going to contribute significantly to transparency in police accountability. And here's one reason, and I want to be clear, nothing has changed in the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights with respect to confidentiality. Nothing has changed in so far as the Maryland Public Information Act is concerned. So there is still a very strong confidentiality requirement in police discipline cases. But by having civilians on the trial boards, civilians will get greater information about the scheduling and location of the trial boards. They will be better able to attend those public hearings. And this is important. The civilian members of the trial board, when a decision is rendered, will be able to explain on the record in front of the public the reasons why they are voting to convict an officer, if that's their judgment, and the reasons why they are voting to acquit an officer. Something we haven't had up until now. As you all will know, up until now, all we've ever gotten from trial boards is guilty or not guilty. And you don't learn very much else. With civilians on the trial boards, we will be in a position to have those civilians explain their reasons for their votes. And that will contribute enormously, Mr. Mayor, to the transparency of the disciplinary process. We will continue to protect the confidential personnel information of every law enforcement officer. We are duty bound by law to do that, and we will do that. But at the same time, a measure of transparency that heretofore did not exist will be brought to this process. And I know, if you'll allow, Mr. Mayor, Darnell Ingram, whom I hope most of you have met, the director of the Mayor's Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement, who is the director of that office and staffs and supervises the staff that supports the Civilian Review Board, which is also a critical part of the police disciplinary process. And Darnell, I know you're pleased about this development as well.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Solicitor. Accountability separates the wishers in life from action takers that care enough about their future to account for their daily actions. Civilian oversight of BPD trial board has been long sought by community activists and officials who want more transparency in the outcome of internal investigation to police misconduct, as well as to ensure that those on the board are truly holding their own accountable for their actions. In the recent years, law enforcement officers has opposed this momentous move, with some arguing that civilians are not qualified to understand the complex decisions made by police officers. However, given the competence of our current Civilian Review Board, those concerns have been dispelled. Those concerns are now being addressed today. Thus, placing 2 citizens on the trial board will be now a good equalizer for accountability, transparency, and community trust. I give much credit to the Law Department and the FOP for negotiating for and listening to the wishes of the citizens of Baltimore. This new agreement has finally broken this history-old impasse and opens the door for more civilian involvement in the response of citizens' complaints regarding perceived police misconduct and behavior. I know we all look forward to working with all parties involved to support the application of equal justice for residents and law enforcement officers alike. Finally, at the end of the day, we are accountable to ourselves, and our success is a result of what we do today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Again, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. This is a great day for the city, for the people of the city, and I know that Dan Beck and I, as well as Sergeant Mancuso of the Fraternal Order of Police and his staff, look forward to receiving these applications, reviewing them carefully, and selecting an ultimate first cohort of about 20 individuals from throughout the city who will serve in this first go-round of trial boards with civilians, and I predict great success on all sides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor.
We asked a couple of questions.
Do you have questions about the trial board?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is there a written agreement with the FOP about the selection process? So do they have a veto over who gets into the pool?
It's in the memorandum of understanding. There are probably a few details we have yet to work out, but it's in the memorandum of understanding. And the FOP has signed off on this application, which, by the way, the Department of Justice and the monitoring team for the consent decree have also signed off on this application.
Don't lean on the lights, please.
This is all a part of the consent decree implementation process.
Are the civilians able to, is someone able to tell what the outcome of the process is?
The outcome
Of hearing? If someone's found guilty or acquitted?
oh, that's already announced.
So
That's already a
civilians can talk
part.
about that as well, not just their own vote?
Oh, yes, yes.
One of the absurd things about this has been the charges are not public. So you can find out if someone's guilty, but you don't know what are.
Well, you'll find out the charges if you attend the hearing.
My understanding from my colleagues who've attended is you don't learn what the, like.
You generally do. You generally do.
Well, is there any move afoot to make them public? I mean, really public?
I mean, well, they are public. They are public. And again, as I
As you
said,
said, people don't know when they occur, where they occur,
And we
who
are-
they involve, you know?
we are working on methods to improve public notice of when and where the hearings will take place. We are really working on that.
Is there any legal impediment to having something like a proper docket for these cases?
Well, we do. The police department has
Down the website.
a web portal that will show you when hearings are scheduled. Frankly, part of the problem is they sometimes get postponed at the last minute and that kind of thing, and it can be frustrating, and we are working to remove some of that frustration from the process.
What about like documents and the filings ahead of the trial? Like the real.
They remain confidential. Thank you all.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
all right. Okay, we're going to transition into this exciting time for Baltimore. The 144th running of the Preakness Stakes will take place in Baltimore this May. A little over 3 weeks away, the Preakness is an important economic driver for neighborhoods adjacent to the facility and the city of Baltimore as a whole. I am proud to officially announce Race to Preakness, a Baltimore celebration. The Baltimore Office of Promotion in the Arts was asked to produce events celebrating the 144th running of the Preakness Stakes. An official Preakness celebration has not taken place for several years. BOPA created a series of activities for 2019. I'm going to introduce Donna Drew Sawyer, the CEO of the Baltimore Office of Promotion and Arts, to tell you about the exciting things that will be happening.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, all. I'm thrilled to join Ex-Officio Mayor Young and all of you today to share great news about Race to Preakness, a series of events that the Baltimore Office of Promotion in the Arts is producing for the city and for the citizens of Baltimore. From Monday, May 13th through Friday, May 17th, the week before the Preakness Stakes. Let me tell you what we have planned. On Monday, May 13th, we kick off the week with Race to Preakness Happy Hour. Every evening, Thursday through Thursday, from 5 to 8 p.m., we invite everybody to Center Plaza, which is at 110 West Fayette Street, right at Charles Street. That's an opportunity to end the business day with live music, drink specials, and a series of fun events, including a crab derby, always a favorite, race to Preakness-related games, and a night brunch. Just for the kids, we're bringing back Pee Wee Preakness. And that'll be at Patterson Park on Wednesday, May 15th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's an opportunity to come and cheer the young jockeys ages 4 through 8 from Patterson Park Charter School and St. Casimir School, who will compete on bouncy balls and in sack races for the Pee Wee crown of racing. The public is also invited to enter their young jockeys for the fun. There will be live entertainment and hands-on activities, and the afternoon will be a great one in one of Baltimore's most beautiful parks, Patterson Park. The downtown lunch crowd will really have a great opportunity. They'll be able to grab a bite to eat in some of the downtown squares and plazas, including Harbor Market and Pratt Street Market, and enjoy live music, fun games, 11 to 2, Wednesday, May 15th through Friday, May 17th. These events are produced in partnership with Downtown Partnership of Baltimore, Waterfront Partnership, and of course the City of Baltimore, Recreation and Parks, Lexington Market, and our media partner, WBAL-TV. And I've saved the spectacular for last. On Friday evening, May 17th, Baltimore celebrates the 144th running of the Preakness Stakes with music, dancing, food, drinks, drone racing, games, and a spectacular fireworks finale at the Inner Harbor. So the Inner Harbor Party and Fireworks is presented by the Maryland Jockey Club, so we hope you'll join us. And that starts at 5, and the fireworks go off at 9. And there's still more to come. We're in the process of doing additional activities up in the Park Heights and Pimlico neighborhoods, one which we hope will be a permanent art installation. We're still working on that. So visit www.promotionandarts.org for more information, and you can find more information on our social media sites with hashtag Race to Preakness. Thank you.
I'm excited about Preakness. Everybody here should be excited about Preakness, especially our sponsor, WBAL-TV. So this is something that we all should be proud of, and we should make sure that the news get out, that we have plenty of activities planned for our young people as well as our aging people. And all of you are invited to come out to happy hour. All right, I plan to try to be there at happy hour myself. Not a real drinker, but I'll be there and take a drink or two. All right. So, any questions about either the Preakness or anything, sure?
I'm wondering if you had any updates on the grandstands. The city was out there looking at those, at the security and safety after what the strike group announced. Is there an update?
Well, code enforcement representatives, they met with Maryland Jockey Club officials at the Pimlico Race Course. We were provided a portion of the assessment report, which was prepared March of 2019 by Phasian Associates for the Maryland Jockey Club. And consistent with the information provided in that report, there are areas of the old grandstand exhibiting deterioration or damage because of years of neglect. I want to say that again, because of years of neglect and deferred maintenance. The report indicates that further deterioration will continue, and in some cases even accelerate. If the owners continue to leave these matters unaddressed, the Maryland Jockey Club has provided us with preliminary information as to their plans of action for hosting the Preakness in May. As permits are applied for, we will revisit the site to ensure that the facility is fit for the intended use and that occupancy measures are sufficient and all safety standards are being met. Additionally, we will be asking our own engineers to review the assessment report and provide their own response to the findings and recommendations. So, there you have it.
Does that mean that there's a plan in the works to replace that seating by May, the day of the race?
I don't have that information. All I know that they said it was unsafe for the grandstand to be there. So my understanding is they're supposed to be providing people who had tickets with other seating. I don't know whether that seating is going to be seating they're going to bring in or whether they're going to use as assisting seatings. I really don't have that information. But I'm just happy that the Preakness will be running, the 144th Preakness. I'm happy that that's going to take place. I'm happy that the Office of Promotion have stepped up to make sure that we promote it so that we can get more people involved, the kids in the neighborhoods, with all the events that's going to be taking place, and the events that's going to be taking place with the school children. I'm really excited about that.
Jeff,
You're confident that the engineering report that you've seen, or a portion of it that you've seen, is legit, that the grandstand, that those roughly 7,000 seats are unsafe?
I can only go by what they said. Our folk are looking at it as well. But what we have gathered is that deferred maintenance and, neglect. They just neglected Pimlico because they don't want the race to stay in Baltimore. But the Preakness belongs to Baltimore. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that Preakness stays right here in Baltimore.
Mr. Mayor, you've mentioned the neglect several times, but does the city have a stick that it could use to get the owner to make improvements to the track, like it would say the slope?
We always have a stick, but I really don't want to go into using the stick, because then they could come up and say, hey, this is an emergency, it's unsafe, it's unfit, and try to get out of there. So no, I won't say that. Yeah.
Can we ask you about the vote on the 14.2 million?
So wait, nothing else on Preakness?
Sorry.
Shortly before Mayor Pugh she filed a lawsuit trying to condemn the Pimlico and seize it from Stonic and the Maryland Jockey Clubs. Your office working on that in any capacity?
I have to defer to our lawyer.
Yeah, the lawsuit remains pending. We did amend it the other day because the bill that was in Annapolis designed to funnel $120 million to the Stronach Group through Medco failed. So we've deleted those counts from our complaint, but otherwise the complaint remains pending. We're in touch with counsel for the other side, and we're hoping, as the mayor suggested just now, to have some serious conversations with them about going forward. State law says the Preakness must be in Baltimore. That's state law. And so how we reach agreement and resolve the ongoing dispute, of course, will depend on the good faith of both sides and how we are able to persuade them that it is in both their best interest and the best interest of Baltimore City that the Preakness remain in Baltimore at a refashioned Pimlico development. That's what we're after.
All right.
Any other questions? What's your concern about associated black charities that caused you to, they've been administering $14-some million in Ryan White funding for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time, but I wanted the department, because of all the news surrounding other things, I wanted to be open and transparent. I wanted the health department to come in and give us all the particulars of why it was being done again. Just trying to be open and transparent, so people can understand that they have been, like you alluded to, they've been administering this for a number of years. So I just wanted to be open and transparent so people can just
What do you
see.
anticipate was going to happen in this 2-week period?
Well, the health department going to come in and stand up there and do what they're supposed to do, explain it, and make sure that you guys can get the information that you need. That's all I want, transparent.
Would you prefer to have Associated Black Charities come before the board?
I would prefer that the health department come before the board and defend why they want to continue to do it. That's all.
Why do you think that the youth fund money needs to be audited, but not necessarily the Ryan White money? I mean, there doesn't seem to be any...
Because number one, the Ryan White funds, there have never been an issue with those. They just get there with, it's 10%, I think it is, and it's federal grants. So we found nothing, I found nothing wrong with that.
But there's nothing... So do you have a specific concern about the youth fund money? And
I have no concern about the youth fund money. I hold Miss Diane Bell McCoy in high esteem, been knowing her for over 30-something years, and she's a woman of integrity. And just like any other organization that received past due funds, that's what her responsibility was. Past due funds, to pass it on to the entity that they need to pass it on to. And that's what any organization that's charged with receiving funds.
But you have no concern about either.
No concerns. I have no concerns.
So why only audit one?
I have no concerns. Next question. I have no concerns.
Yesterday, you had said you would hate to see Catherine Pugh return to the mayor's office. Why would you hate to see?
No, I think that was taken out of content. If you listen at the YPR tape, what I was saying was I would hate to see what would, the response be. That's what I meant. I don't know why it was interpreted in a different way. He asked me would I like to see her return. And my remark was, because of the delegation from Baltimore City asked for her to resign, and the GBC asked for her to resign, and the council people, I would hate to see what the response would be. I mean, that's simple.
Do you prefer that she come back?
I mean, that's her decision. I can't speak for her. That's her decision.
It's in the city's best interest that she not come back.
That's a decision that's up to the mayor. There's nothing in our charter for removing the mayor. And the council have introduced several bills, and one of them is the process to remove not only the mayor, but any elected leader in the city of Baltimore.
But what do you think the impact would be on the city if she did come back?
Like I said before, because of all of the groundswell of asking her to resign, I mean, it would be devastating for her, and I wouldn't want to see her feelings hurt. I wouldn't want to. I mean, that's tough. So I'll leave it at that.
But Jack, what about the functioning of the city right now? I know everything's moving well and, you're in charge, but, the city as a whole, there seems to be a lot of uncertainty about the future and, the future at City Hall, as far as the elected officials.
Well, people should understand that we're still moving the city forward with a steady hand. I oftentimes use a train or a ship. The train is going down the track, the ship is going down the water, and we're not skipping a beat. We're moving forward. I'm focused on cleaning the city, and I'm focusing on making sure we reduce crime. And I've been riding around, looking in alleys and everywhere else, seeing it, and calling it in and say I want it cleaned up, and it's been cleaned up. And I've been riding all over the city, just on my way to events, looking at alleys and saying, hey, if I see it, they see it, you should see it, clean it up. That's what I've been saying all over.
But how does the fact that she may not be the pilot next week, because we don't know what's happening with the mayor, complicate steering the ship?
Well, I will continue to steer the ship because the mayor's on an indefinite leave with no signs of when she's going to return. So according to the charter, I have to continue to fulfill those duties. So someone will be at the helm.
Do you think the mayor owes it to the people of the city to come out and say a bit more about her future plans?
I can't speak for the mayor.
Solicitor, can we ask you just a question about this, and then we'll get back to the acting mayor? Just if you could be clear about what the charter addresses about a mayor who takes leave for any reason. I mean, in this case, we have taking leave for health reasons. What does the charter say?
Zero.
Nothing.
That's what the charter says.
So she
Nothing.
could stay out indefinitely.
As far as the charter itself is concerned, the charter is utterly silent on how long a leave can last, exactly what the reasons are for a leave. There's just nothing in the charter to address that.
Is there any mechanism that might come into play if this continues for some period of time?
Well, I'll be consulting with leadership in the city as the city's lawyer to think about what options there are, but as far as the charter is concerned, silent.
What is the charter the ultimate say on this? And is the state constitution, there's some ambiguity in the punctuation of the way the state constitution is.
The charter is the final say on this, where we are now. It's the charter.
If we could just ask one more question about, because you also were involved in the decision to defer the vote on Associated Black Charities receiving this funding. What are you seeking in terms of explanation about their role in administering these federal funds?
I think the mayor said it better than I can.
I said it.
Transparency.
Just want people to, anything that's dealing with the, what they call the Holly thing, we're going to bring it to vet it before the public. I mean, that's just what I want to do. I want to have transparency so that everybody can see that things are fair and square. Y'all witnessed today, Spidolio, their complaint, where the agency makes the recommendation. So when people talk about backdoor dealing, that makes my skin boil because there's no backdoor dealing. These are agencies that come up and say, this is the process, this is the person that won the bid. It's been scrubbed by MBU, it's been scrubbed by the law department and the contract board. And then they present it to us as members of the Board of Estimate, and we normally follow the department's requests. Sometimes I vote no if I don't think that the MBE and WBE is where it should be. And I always like the low bid, but I've come to learn now because I used to vote against them. I vote for the low bid and against the high bid, but until I found out that all these cost overruns come in and we're almost paying more than what the highest bidder had bidded. So those are the kind of things that I'm gonna be looking out for and watching, because sometimes the lowest bid is not always the best bid.
Jack, has anything changed in terms of the status of the 7 that we know of, people that work for the mayor who have been put on leave?
Well, I would say this. You know that we can't speak to personnel decisions, but I can tell you that I had made a decision of 3 people who will no longer be in the mayor's office. They're at-will employees, and as I continue to assess City Hall, I would do what's appropriate to make sure that I have the right people in place that I feel comfortable with.
So you
We have heard that
people have
termination papers were sent to those people, is that correct?
Absolutely,
to 3 people,
absolutely.
not to 7?
And the other
Just 3.
4 are still on leave at
I
this point?
have not made a decision about the other 4. That's a personnel matter, and when I make a decision, you will know.
And when were those papers sent, do you know offhand?
I think I signed them, I can't be sure, Thursday.
Are these the first 3 that were put on leave?
Yes.
Can you comment on Mayor Pugh's $500 fine on a home? Do you know anything about that?
Just what I read in the paper from, in the Sun paper. I can't comment to it because I don't know anything about it. All I know that they said that the shingles on the roof wasn't approved by, it's in a historic district. It wasn't approved by CHAPS.
Do you have any comment on East Point, the rioting?
I made my comments, and I stand by the comments that I made. Thank you.
I think you addressed this a little yesterday. When was the last time you spoke to Catherine?
I think about 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. Maybe 3, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.